What scripture do you recommend? Well, it's kind of a hard question because, like I would say, I have several translations, many, and depending on how deep I want to study, well, I read like several of them. Not all of them because I have like really like 20 or more, but I tend to check in like five of them, like the Septuagint, like the Hebrew, of course, and then there is the Kadosh, the Israelite version. Um, and well, in English there are a couple that I think are interesting. There's one that I haven't seen really. I mean, from what I have heard, meaning the videos that I have seen, and how can I put it? Well, there is a translation called Sefer. I believe it's Sefer Aleph Taf, which I think that the translator actually took his time to do the best. And like I said, I haven't read the whole thing, but I have read some verses, and I do like the fact that it goes deep into the Hebrew, even though if I'm not mistaken, he calls Yahweh Yahweh. But that is one point regarding the pronunciation of the last letter of Yahweh, which I have explained why it ends in E, and I do understand why they believe it should end in uh, Ah. But anyways, that is one. But this is a question that I find it hard to answer because I don't believe there is one that is perfect. Obviously, the original Hebrew is, but once they started translating them, they're gonna have issues, either in one verse or the other. So, and the issues may not be that bad, and some like the worst issue is the name, the false names. So if you train yourself to pronounce and invoke the true names when you are reading and the true titles, not to pronounce the wrong ones, that will make a huge difference. And I know that that may sound like doesn't make sense, but I'm telling you, just that, pronouncing the true names and titles when you read whatever translation you're reading, will make a huge difference. Now, obviously, there are translations that are very, very bad. Like, for instance, the New International Version. That is one that people should burn because it takes away many thousand, like thousands of words from the scripture, the equivalent to 35 books, pretty much. So that's why it's so little. Um, so yeah, that is a very bad translation. But like I was saying, the main key is to pronounce the names and titles correctly, no matter what translation you read. Second, understand that um, most of the problems of translations are the word that they chose. Since Hebrew is so deep, one word can be interpreted as five different meanings. So Yahweh tells us five different things through that word. But when you translate it to English, you put one word that can only be translated or interpreted as one thing. So they basically just by choosing that word, they're choosing an interpretation. So that's why I say if you want to go deeper, you would have to go to the concordance and see what the word was and what else it means. And then you will be able to receive a deeper understanding of the verse, for instance. I can give you like several versions of the scriptures and you can choose one. And I say choose because I repeat, I don't think you should take one and forget about the rest. I think it's important to always uh, look on other scriptures or translations because you might end up finding one that is better. Also, if you get to choose one, because you may choose one for everyday use, but when you're gonna go deep and study, you should check others. That's my point. And when checking others, you may find one that you want to use for every day.